I'm here with a really special young man called Lachlan, and he's got some really important messages to share. Meningococcal is a terrible disease. It can cause septicemia, blood poisoning, it can cause meningitis, or you can have both. And in about 5% of cases, it's deadly. Lachlan had meningococcal B disease, which is by far the most common cause of meningococcal in Australia. Meningococcal is a deadly disease that can come on very rapidly, and you can progress from being well in the morning to at death's door by dinner time. Lachlan contracted meningococcal B. His parents and he were not aware that the vaccine he had against meningococcal at high school did not cover B, even though B is the most common cause of meningococcal disease in Australia. He nearly lost his life in intensive care. It's important to listen to his story. Lachlan, hi.
How's it going?
What was your life like as a teenager before you caught meningococcal disease?
Before meningococcal, I would consider myself incredibly active. So going to the gym 6-7 times a week, playing football at a local club, basketball with my friends, pretty social as well. So I was fit, healthy, and just enjoying my young teenage years. So
how do you think you caught this germ?
It's a bit up in the air, in my opinion. I went to the gym, went to football practice the week prior leading up and to a friend's 18th, which is most likely where I probably caught it. But I was pretty safe, I would say. Didn't share drinks, didn't even drink at all, went to bed early, so it's really quite a mystery.
By far the commonest type of meningococcal is Group B, and unfortunately we do not have a vaccine available throughout Australia that is free of charge. South Australia has had meningococcal B vaccine for some years, and Queensland is introducing it this year. But most of Australia does not have free meningococcal B vaccines. Were you vaccinated against meningococcal?
Yes, I was vaccinated against strains A, C, W and Y though, which I had a booster for in year 10. However, I was not vaccinated against the strain B, which was not included as part of the immunisation rollout for Victorian schools.
Did you know there was a vaccine for meningococcal B?
Had no idea. I didn't even know the disease existed up until that point, so it came as quite a surprise.
At high school, children are given a meningococcal vaccine that protects against 4 types, A, C, W and Y, but not B. Only in South Australia has it been available for some years, and Queensland is introducing it in 2024. Many people think they've had the meningococcal vaccine because they had the ACYW, but the most common cause of meningococcal disease in Australia by far is meningococcal Group B. So what were the symptoms you had when you first got sick?
Leading up to before I was in hospital, on the Tuesday I had a sore throat after footy training, but that's pretty common for me. I get fevers and whatnot quite often. Then on the Wednesday it was nauseous, vomiting, headache, and then the Thursday morning it was those symptoms plus falling in and out of consciousness, and then after that it was straight into a coma.
What did they do in hospital?
They intubated me straight away, so I wasn't conscious. They had tubes breathing for me, feeding me, keeping me alive, that kind of thing. And then they also had me on antibiotics to counteract the strain of meningococcal that I had.
So how long were you in intensive care?
Close to a week. But obviously they took tubes out. They brought me back into consciousness after 4 days in a coma. So it was nice to sort of see my family again because I was a little bit out of it, didn't really know what happened.
Do you know anyone who's had this disease?
No, I've sort of been told of people around the area who got it at around the same time I got it, but none of my friends had it. None of my friends were aware of the strain or the symptoms or the consequences of getting the virus.
What would be your recommendation to other young people like yourself?
Get vaccinated first and foremost, but also be mindful of situations where you may pick up illnesses. Just be more hygienic and be aware of your surroundings a little bit more, I think, would be my advice.
How did you feel while you were in hospital for all that time?
Obviously, initially, I probably wasn't aware. I was sort of a little bit out of it, but I was incredibly afraid, especially communicating with my family and stuff again about what was actually going on. It kind of did come as a surprise, and I was pretty afraid for the most part, but after I started to slowly recover, it became a lot easier to sit in the hospital.
And how's the recovery been over the last couple of months?
It's been very quick. So after I got off the antibiotics, it was pretty much just back into doing sort of a bit more normal stuff, going for walks, and then from there it was playing basketball, boxing, tennis, back to a bit more normality, some movement. So I only really did physiotherapy in the hospital, just for basic motor function while I was in there. So it's been a really quick recovery.
What are you going to do with yourself this year?
Not a whole lot at this stage, just try and get back to the things that I love doing, so football, basketball, going back to the gym and training, seeing my friends, so nothing huge planned, but pretty big stuff for me in terms of how much I miss them.
Have you been left with any long-term symptoms?
I've been told that there may be some complications with just fatigue, general fatigue, but that's, compared to what could have happened, it's a very good outcome, I would say.
Mm-hmm. What would be the one thing you recommend to other teenagers?
Get vaccinated, and as much as they can. I know it's incredibly difficult, even for me, with the disease it was, but just be aware, sort of slow down, be more hygienic, wash your hands, all that kind of stuff. Just be more careful.
About 10 to 20% of teenagers and young people carry the meningococcus germ in their throat harmlessly. It's a commensal. It doesn't cause any symptoms, but it can transmit from a carrier, a healthy person, to another person and invade. And when it invades, it can cause blood poisoning, meningitis, or both. The Immunisation Coalition is a group of health professionals who are devoted to raising awareness about serious infectious diseases that can be prevented by immunisation.